The matte black casing of the suit was silent. Beneath the high, violet sky of the Hellbird Plains, Caraballo stood in the center of the parade ring, but the heavy gears of her Phantom Stride EXO frame produced no mechanical whine. In the thin, biting wind, Suzerain Marshal OTH Run watched the human through his primary compound eyes and felt a flicker of confusion. Every other machine in his 12,000-soldier formation hummed with the vibration of active power. Yet the Earth Marine's armor seemed to be drinking the light and the noise into a hollow. Light, less void. Would you have knelt to save your life? Or stood to save their names? Stay close to find out why Caraballo chose the latter. Across the ritual grounds, the ozone of 10,000 ozone banners stung OTH Run's ceremonial chit-in. The Throng suzerainty had ruled these plains for formal millennia, their dominance codified by the ancient right of the honor opponent. To the Throng, a single human female placed in the heart of their military parade was nothing more than a living tribute, a ceremonial honor guard meant to signify the submission of her species. They had marked her equipment as decorative, a classification OTH Run approved with a sharp click of his mandibles. 11 hours ago, the Suzerain Marshal had reviewed the captive's file while his chit-in contracted in the Ferden cold. Caraballo had arrived from the TPS Bone Orchard with tired eyes and a slow, heavy gait. To OTH Run's analytical mind, her stillness was the clear onset of planetary gravity shock, a common biological failure in soft-skinned Terrans. He watched her now as she stood perfectly motionless, her gloved thumb rhythmically cleaning the glass surface of the worn brass dog tag stand. Caraballo, a deco hanging from her chest. She is remarkably docile for a Death Worlder. OTH Run projected through the neural link to his tactical herald. The atmospheric weight of the plains has broken her spirit. Suzerain, the herald replied, his voice a series of rhythmic formubots. She likely understands that the Phantom Stride frame we allowed her to wear is merely a shell for show. Her lowly Terra nose is probably too busy appreciating the scent of our draft beasts to consider rebellion. Around the human, the Throng soldiers began the intricate, shifting movements of the Great Spiral. Their frond gestures were fluid, a display of strength that had remained unbeaten since the Empire's inception. Above them, mounted on the basalt cliffs overlooking the ring, stood the honored wall. It was a display of 47 human researchers, preserved and lit in crystalline cases as trophies of the Throng's most recent expansion. OTH Run noticed Caraballo's eyes were fixed on the wall, her thumb still moving over the brass tag in a slow, hypnotic circle. Beneath the observation spire, the gravity of the Hellbird Plains pulled at the air itself. The Throng utilized this 1.4G environment as a natural forge for their soldiers, but they misread the way it interacted with Earth gravity-trained muscle. To OTH Run, Caraballo's lack of movement was a sign of impending collapse. He didn't see the way the Phantom Stride suit was actually configured. He didn't recognize the Phantom designation for what it was, a powered DXO frame designed for high-gravity energy recapture. Every vibration from the marching Throng ranks and every gust of the heavy wind was being harvested. The suit wasn't silent because it was off. It was silent because it was a capacitor, corking itself on the kinetic energy of the very parade meant to celebrate its defeat. Caraballo remained a statue of matte black metal, her breath shallow and controlled as she waited for the standards to rise. Begin the ascent of the banners, OTH Run commanded, raising his ceremonial halberd. The standards of the Throng suzerainty began their slow, rhythmic ascent. One by one, 12,000 heavy silk banners rose against the bruise-colored sky, their golden fringes catching the fading light. OTH Run watched from his perch, his mandibles clicking with the rhythm of the ritual. The human captive, Sergeant Caraballo, remained at the center of the vortex, her head bowed in what the Throng viewed as the ultimate posture of a conquered soul. Beside OTH Run, the tactical herald brushed a speck of dust from his ceremonial collar. The resonance of the banners is perfect today, the herald observed quietly. The human has not moved a single muscle in 3 hours. Truly, even their warriors recognize when history has reached its conclusion. In the distance, the wind whistled through the crystalline cases of the honored wall. Run looked at the preserved form of Drive, a thorn, who had once whistled tunes while digging in the dirt. The researcher's mouth was frozen in a silent, the jagged line, the trophy of the Throng's honoring. Run adjusted his grip on his halberd, his chin tightening in the intensifying cold. Caraballo stepped through the first rank, leaving only dust and shredded silk behind. Through the tactical display, Run saw the impossible. The matte black suit was no longer drinking the light. It was Italian. The phantom stride frame had reached critical saturation from the 1.4 G gravity and the kinetic thunder of 12,000 marching feet. Caraballo had not been frozen by fear. She had been acting as a grounding wire, a biological conductor for a suit that had just turned the Throng's own pride into a weapon of mass displacement. "I came for the wall," Caraballo's voice whispered over the open parade channel, crackling with static. "The wall comes down." The first movement was a blur that the Throng's compound eyes could barely track. Using the power DX Soul frame energy recapture, she pivoted with a force that shattered the Soul parade floor. The kinetic shockwave didn't just knock the first rank of soldiers back. It liquefied their internal carapaces. 8 minutes. That was all it took. Beneath the falling banners, the halberd plains became a recovery zone of ash and silence. Caraballo moved with a terrifying mechanical efficiency. Earth gravity muscle adaptation, allowing her to strike with the weight of a falling star. She didn't use a rifle. She didn't need one. She used the momentum of her own body. A phantom stride ghost tearing through the ancient ritual like a blade through silk. Across the burning grounds, Run watched his legacy dissolve. The 200-year-old tradition of the honor opponent had been a trap of his own making. He had invited a predator to his table and called it a guest. The brass dawn Caraballo's chest was now scorched, the name barely visible through the carbon scoring. As she reached the honored wall, she didn't stop to admire the cases. She struck the foundation of the basalt cliff with a localized kinetic discharge. The crystalline cases shattered, and the names of the 47 researchers were finally released from their honored cages. "Report." Run screamed at his herald. But the herald was gone, his ceremonial armor crushed under a falling standard. Caraballo stood alone amidst the ruins of 12,000 soldiers. She looked up at the spire, the matte black suit venting steam into the frozen air. The silence that followed was not the silence of peace, but the hollow ringing of a debt paid in full. She had come for her people. Today, the brass dog tag resides in the center of the Throng's ruined archive. The only object they still dare to touch. They no longer hold parades. The Suzerainty teaches its young that when Earth sends an honor guard, it is not for your honor. Humanity didn't come to be displayed. They came to take their names back. The last banner on the plains lay in the dirt, a scrap of shredded gold,